I'm Josh.
And I'm Jen. Welcome to the Gospel Shaped Family Podcast.
Each episode brings biblical wisdom and practical conversations on parenting, marriage, and family. And we discuss how to disciple the next generation with a biblical worldview.
Whether you're raising children, shepherding a church, or longing to build a legacy of faith in your home, this podcast is for you.
Join us as we explore how to shape hearts, homes, and churches around the gospel, one conversation at a time.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Gospel Shaped Family Podcast.
Good day to everybody. I was going to say morning, but if people are listening in the afternoon.
People can listen at any time of the day or night because that is the magic of a podcast.
That's right. We're talking about something this week that you love a lot.
Oh boy, yes. Today we're talking about how you can help your children become a lover of great books.
This is like right up your alley. You're like
I'm the book
expert
lady.
love a lot, yeah.
But you're a book person too.
Yeah.
We both are super bookish. We love to read. And it's just so exciting to help your kids foster the same love of books and of reading because it's life-changing. Books can just change your life.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Teach us all about God, ourselves, the world. They kind of introduce us to places and things, doorway into truth and goodness and adventure.
Yeah.
And of course, they stir imagination and creativity and moral longing and so good. Yes.
And there's nothing quite like just curling up with a good book, right? Curling up with a good book. This morning, I was working on some different things, and she just cozied up right next to me on the couch with like a blanket and a book, and she's like, "Mom, I'm almost done. I need you to take me to the library so I can get the next one." Because we don't have the next book in her series, but we have the fourth book in her series, and she was like, "This is a need."
One of the measures of success is that we can't keep enough books in people's hands in our family.
Yeah, that's true.
Good.
That's true.
So books started as like a thing you loved when you were younger.
I was obsessed.
When I graduated from reading was like a tough thing for me. Like it was a bad experience starting out.
Sad.
I guess I'm making some confessions here about my academic experiences as a kid that I didn't do good. But reading I remember it was like tears and the hard, and I was slow. I was one of the later ones to learn to read in my class. And you were the opposite. You're like a speed reader.
I loved to read.
Yeah.
I don't remember not knowing how to read. I think I started reading really young.
Really little, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and you wrote a poem about books because you loved books. This is at age 8. I don't even know if I could really speak yet by age 8. You were like writing poems about books that you loved.
I wrote this poem about books.
Yeah.
And I put it on a piece of construction paper. I wrote it out and I like decorated around it. And then I still have it in my like special box. I'm sure most grown-ups have a special box of like papers and things from when they
Read
were
us
kids.
this poem from this 8-year-old Jenny.
Here's the 8-year-old Jenny poem. Here it is. It's called Books. Books. They are like hooks that always cling to me. They can take you anywhere, like down the slopes on skis. In books, you can go to Hawaii or even Timbuktu. Most books are so very good that you should read one too.
Wow. That was written by 8-year-old Jenny?
Yay, that was me. That was like, if you wanted to picture me as a kid, that was me like doodling the book poem.
With like big glasses.
The thickest glasses and a crazy haircut. My dad would like, there used to be a bookstore called B. Dalton Books up the road from our house. And I remember I would want to read like Nancy Drew books. I would want to read Sweet Valley Twins books. I went through like a big Sweet Valley Twins phase. And the books were $2.95. With tax, they were $3.13. And I would like
you remember
scrounge my pennies and I'd be like, Dad, I have $3.13. Please drive me to the bookstore. And my dad would drive me there. He would not even get out of the car. He would just sit in the parking lot so I could go in and buy the book, and I would have exact change, like $3.13.
Damn. And then you get the book and you'd be done reading it in like a couple hours and you need another book.
I literally, like, I look at our daughter Emily, who's like super book obsessed, and I'm like, she is me. She is me. Like when I was that age, like, mom. Next. Yeah.
All right. Well, not only do you love books, but because we have home educated our 5 kids, you have actually taught our kids, all of them, to read, which is kind of fun to think that.
It's very fun.
It was so transformative to learn how to read. Yeah. So what suggestions do you have for those families that this might apply to, or even some that are maybe thinking about homeschooling and are like, man, I don't know if I could teach my kids to read. Give us some suggestions from teaching 5 kids about this.
Obviously, I mean, you want your kids need to be able to be good readers in order to truly love books. You know, obviously you're going to read aloud to your kids, and there's going to be, you know, this fostering that you as mom and dad help your kids to fall in love with books. There's the read aloud process, but really you want your kids to be solid readers. And I've heard from so many young moms who say, I want to homeschool my kids, or I want this for my child, but really the reading is a hurdle. And I think sometimes there are families who will say, I won't homeschool in the early years because they don't want to mess it up. They don't want to mess up teaching their children how to read. And really, the process of teaching your children how to read is not that difficult. It's not that difficult. So let me give you a few tips on how to help your kids just, master that process of the actual reading. Forget the part about them falling in love with good books. Let's just talk about the nuts and bolts of reading. So the first thing I would say to your kids is, whether they are old or whether they are young, no matter what their age is read out loud to your kids. Read out loud all the time. And so it really does set the foundation for experiencing books together. Your child will fall in love with books if you read to them from the very youngest age. So when all of our kids were very, very little, we established patterns of reading all day long, whether it was reading the children's Bible in the morning, or we're reading books all afternoon, or it's Goodnight Moon before bed and Pat the Bunny. And what happens is that, you have these established rhythms in your home. They provide entertainment, they provide discipleship, they provide so much, but really, your child learns literacy, they learn language, they learn adjectives, they learn enunciation, they learn pronunciation, they learn so much just through the act of reading out loud, that really the first step in teaching reading is to read to your child and just give them a great vocabulary, give them the gift of knowledge around books. So don't waste your time. Don't waste your time on terrible books. Don't waste your time on books that are...
What about like Captain Underpants? Is that... I love reading Captain Underpants. Do you like that one?
No. Okay, so he's going to razz me on this because I will say, I just have such a problem with some of fast fiction today. And I would put Captain Underpants in the fast fiction category because it's oh my goodness, these books, there's a man on the cover and it's this big fat man wearing underpants, and it's you would never let your child stand in the same room as that man wearing whitey tighties only, but you're gonna let them carry it around in their backpack. It's so disgusting. Ugh. But really just give them the best experiences with books. Say no to Captain Underpants and all of these icky things that people would say you should do, but give them great titles. If you need suggestions on book titles, there are books about books, books like Honey for a Child's Heart. There's books children love, which are literally just lists and titles of books that you can use as a springboard. But the first step towards good literacy is just reading to your kids and
And reading great books.
Yeah, reading great books. The second one thing that I would say when you're talking about teaching reading is reading is a struggle for a lot of children because they are pushed into reading too early. Josh would say that.
If that's true for you. Yeah.
So think back to, even the 1950s. What did kindergarten look like for children? It looked like playtime and naps and outdoor time. And now really, as young parents, we are being told that we should be teaching phonics from when our children are 1. And, academics are being pushed earlier and earlier and earlier and earlier. And you do not need academics when your child is 3 years old. They do not need to read by the time they go into kindergarten because their brains are just not ready, especially boys. They are not ready. So better, it's the old Russ Moore. It's better late.
Not Russ Moore.
Oh, not Russ Moore. Sorry.
Warning.
Sorry.
Russ Moore,
sorry.
warning.
It's not Russ Moore. Sorry.
Yeah.
I saw a thing with him yesterday. It's tell me his name. It's the better late than early guy.
Yeah, now you got me confused. What is his name? And the title of the book is called Better Late Than Early.
Anyways, we have all his books. We've read them all. Anyways, so this mantra,
I'm gonna look it up.
This mantra that is, your children don't need to read earlier. So late is better. Nobody asks you when you're an adult. Nobody says to you, hey, how old were you when you learned how to read? Nobody asks you that. So we've just learned by holding back, encouraging our children to wait a little bit longer to learn to read has always been a better thing. And then
I was one of those kids that actually was pushed to read early, and it was a struggle for me, as I shared. But if you think just developmentally, all kids develop at different paces. So you just think about a different thing developmentally other than reading, like riding a bike and tying shoes, and all kids learn at a little different pacing. And if you push too early, the experience is bad, like I had. And I did not like to read at all in my childhood because, in part, not the only reason, but in part because I had a bad experience. And I really wasn't introduced to some of the rich books that we read with our kids now until I was an adult and didn't learn, wow, there's some really wonderful things in books that are really enjoyable. And so I think one of the things that has been great with our kids is when they get exposed to like the reader louds, like you're talking about, like we're talking about here, it develops this love and desire.
Yeah, for
it's like
more.
A hunger and a motivation, like, wow,
that was
awesome.
good.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I didn't have that. I literally had like 10 or 12 books that I had read by the time I graduated high school that I like, here was my books to take to college. And then, that changed, obviously. Now we have a lot of books all over our house.
We have book problems.
Yes.
Too many books.
Like, here's books right here and all over, bookshelves all over. And but that's great. Their richnesses are in books.
Yes. Yep. Sounds good. Okay. Last one was just to model reading. Be a reader yourself, and that'll help your children. Just see that. And our kids all got to the point when they were learning to read that they were like begging for more. Like, can you please, teach me this, teach me that, teach me that. I want to know more. I want to read this. I want to read that. So really, setting your kids up for success with reading and loving books comes with just creating an environment.
Because they knew the treasures that awaited them in books.
They knew.
Yeah.
They knew.
Read, please.
Teach me to read. We want to take a break and thank our sponsor, Renew a Nation. If you've benefited from the Gospel Shaped Family podcast, consider hopping online and making a tax-deductible donation at renewanation.org today. Your generous donations make this podcast possible and further our work to help children develop a biblical worldview. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, you can support us by leaving a 5-star review wherever you listen. This helps us grow and reach more families with a biblical worldview. Now back to the show. Okay, well, let's take a break from that. And now it's time for a segment that I like to call Stump Dr. Josh. There he is. There's Dr. Josh.
Okay. Let's do this.
Woo! All right, Dr. Josh.
Hey.
All right.
What do we got?
We're talking about books for kids. All right.
Yep.
So I have 3 questions for you.
3?
3 stumpers on for Dr. Josh today. Okay. Don't look at the paper. Are we looking?
Oh.
I thought there was a look. Okay.
I'm going to see, is there a reflection in the behind you?
This question comes from a study that was done by the National Literacy Trust in 2025. And it was looking at reading trends among children ages 8 to 18. Okay. Ages 8 to 18 in the United States, 2025. Here's the question. In 2025, what percentage of children said that they read something for fun in their free time? So I'm going to give you an ABC.
It's going to be low.
A would be 10%, B, 19%, C, 24%, or D, 45%. What percentage of children, 8 to 18, said they read something for fun?
No way it's 45%. I'm going to go, it's got to be one of the bottom 2. I'm going to say, my original thought was 19B, but I'm going to go with A, 10%. I feel like it's really low today.
Oh, I stepped in.
Ah.
Yay. Okay. So the answer is B.
That is right. My first, I should have stuck with it.
I know. Okay, so let me read you this. It says in 2025, just 1 in 5, so 18.7% of children and young people ages 8 to 18 said that they read something daily in their free time. This marks the lowest daily level of reading recorded to date, nearly 20 percentage points lower than 2005. Or put another way, the number of children, young people who read daily in their free time has dropped 51% in the last 20 years. Oh, sad.
Screens, I'm assuming, are
Because
replacing.
screens. It goes on to talk about the impact of digital media on reading. Okay, next one. Can you name the top-selling children's book of all time? And this is like a chapter book, so not like a picture book. The number 1 top-selling children's book of all time.
It's either Pilgrim's Progress or Goodbye Moon or Goodnight Moon.
Goodnight Moon. Not a picture book, though.
Oh, is that a picture book?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like a board book.
Oh, it's a chapter book. I'm going with Pilgrim's Progress.
Pilgrim's Progress. That did not even make the list.
What?
I know.
That's the all-time best-selling book. That
I'm
must
gonna tell you,
not,
the
not be
top-selling
considered-
children's book of all
that must
time.
not be considered a children's book.
I've never read the number 1. It's called The Little Prince. It sold 200 million copies
When was it written?
a long time ago. The number 2 is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone,
Yeah.
which I was running this list by our kids, and they corrected me. They said it's the Sorcerer's Stone.
Well, there is, in England, it's actually
it's a different
goes
version.
by a different title.
That one has sold 120 million copies, followed by The Hobbit, Alice in Wonderland, Lion, Witch in the Wardrobe, and Pinocchio. Which, to me, this was interesting because Harry Potter, Hobbit, Alice in Wonderland, and Lion, Witch in the Wardrobe are all distinctly British. But those are like the highest of all time. Okay.
Thank you, British friends, for
thank
writing
you,
great
all you
literature.
people. Okay, and then can you name one, this is my third thing for you, one of the top grossing children's and young adult books from 2025. I have a list of the top. This is New York Times bestseller list with the top
I'm 0 for 2
2025 books.
today. This is going to be an 0
You
for
think
3.
you'll get one of these.
Oh, okay.
Name any one of the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Of what?
This is like top children's chapter books of 2025.
I don't know. 2025. I honestly have.
Are you serious?
Do you,
Think through like I'm going to give you a clue. Like what's like a popular book that all the cool kids are carrying around right now?
the Bible. I don't know.
The cool kids are carrying those around. Okay, I'm going to tell you what they are. Are you ready?
Yeah, I have no idea.
The number 1 is Harry Potter still. That's been on the New York Times bestseller for over 800 weeks.
Impressive.
The next one, which I just want to like throw up a little bit, is called Diary of a Wimpy Kid. You've seen those before.
Yeah, no bueno.
The Percy Jackson series, which I don't know a ton about. Hunger Games.
I did think that one popped in my head. That's considered a kid's book?
It's considered like children's and youth. Yeah.
Okay, well, I thought of that, but I'm like, that's not a kid's book.
Yeah. So New York Times would put Hunger Games in the same category as Harry Potter and Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Even though I think that's a lot more mature.
I think that was like an adult thing. But anyways,
Wild Robot rounds up the list, that series.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there's a lot. It's funny because there's a lot going on in the literary world for kids. Like some of these are just hugely popular. But then the rates of reading are so low. It's crazy.
I think a lot of adults read those books.
I would agree with you. I would, that's so true.
The best literature is for all ages, even though it's aimed at for kids.
Yeah. Okay, well, I stumped Dr. Josh.
3 times in one. Oh.
I upped my game after last time because you got them all right away. Last time I was like, this has to be more difficult this time.
It a fail for me. All right.
Never a fail.
Homeschooling is more than academics. It's discipleship, family, and faith in action. I'm Yvette Hampton, producer of the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast. Each week, we bring you powerful conversations with trusted homeschool leaders and real families packed with biblical wisdom, practical tips, and heartfelt encouragement. The Schoolhouse Rocked podcast, where faith, family, and homeschooling come together. Listen on your favorite podcast app or at schoolhouserocked.com.
Dr. Josh.
Back to books. Okay.
All right. When teaching your child to be a lifelong learner and a lover of books, let's talk about a number of things that we can do and consider the following. So Jen, why don't you share the first one here?
The first one would be, and we already kind of talked about this, no matter how old your kids are, read to them out loud, snuggle up together, allow the best books to shape your family. Don't waste your time on totally books, on books that are, fast fiction that are, not worth your time. But put some time and thought into what are the best books. And no matter how old your kids are, read aloud to them. Our kids are, we have teenagers. Our youngest is 10. I'm still reading out loud. Most days we have audiobooks we're listening to. But put your time and effort into it and choose books that are going to shape them, shape their imagination, shape their character, build some family memories. And it's just been such a blessing.
The next thing to think about is to purchase books that our kids and your kids want to read again and again. And we were actually, Emily, last night we were watching Thursday night football because it's fantasy football season here. And she said to me, we were in the living room and she said, Dad, I need some more books. Can you show me which ones to read? So we walked over. We have a little library in our house filled with bookshelves and books. And I started to go through different titles on there. And she was like, oh, I've read that one 5 times. Yeah. I've read that one many times. I've read the best books stand the test of time. A lot of them are not from modern day authors. They're, they're from people that wrote 50, 100, 150 years ago. And you love them so much, you want to read them again and again and again. So there's great book lists out there that you can find these kinds of titles. We'll tell you a few here at the end if you stick to the end that we have read. It's kind of series often that we read with our kids. But you could kind of think through different categories. What do your kids love or their interests, their hobbies? Emily loves cats and animals. So she always wants books about cats and dogs and animals. And so last night I was literally pulling off books of the shelf that are animal and cat related, and she had the stack of them, and she was all happy and skipping away.
At Christmas I did this. Okay, so I always do like a Christmas read aloud chapter book, and this last Christmas I read out loud this book called The Cat That Came for Christmas, because I know Emily loves a Christmas cat book. It was like, the reason I picked it up was because they said it was like the #1 best-selling cat book of all time.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this has got to be good. I don't.
So.
I was just so. I found myself like full disclosure. I skipped parts of
Yeah,
the book. Like,
they're not
I
great books.
skipped.
There's so many great
But
books
she
out there.
loves cats. I know.
Yeah.
So I would never be like, I would never like gift the cat that came for Christmas. I would never like offer to read it out loud again. The cat who came for Christmas. It just like on a scale of 1 to 10, it was like a 4. So, it's not sticky. It's not, we're not reading it again. But at the same, yeah. So anyways, but that's an example. She loved cats. We went there.
And she enjoyed it.
She loved it.
We want to find books that appeal to our children, and they then become interested in it. So, like, some are boys. For a while, they loved to read books that dealt with sports figures or biographies.
A lot of
biographies about individuals kind of in the area of life they liked, which are great, and they'd get interested. They went through this Duck Dynasty phase.
So they loved that phase. So they read like every book by Cy Robertson.
And they
read all the Willie. They read all those Phil Robertson books too.
Yeah, would we usually put those high on the list of kinds of things? No, but
they loved them.
It had started for boys that sometimes don't get interested in reading. They were like, I love this. It's hilarious and it's fun. And it kind of, it like trains their reading muscle that books are great and treasures. And then it introduces them into some other genres and areas and great books that it's like, all right, these were great. They were wonderful. We can take the reading training wheels off for some things like that, and then move to some of the other areas that maybe takes a little bit.
Yeah. So to transition, the next one would be to read biographies of men and women from church history. And so, so just like Josh just said about reading some of these more like lighthearted Tony Dungy, Duck Dynasty, Tim Tebow books, it really that helped our kids especially transition to some deeper levels of church biographies of people from church history. We've always read church history, even from when our kids were very young. There are so many great resources out there on this front right now, like picture books and board books. There's like the ABCs of church history where it goes through like each and every one. There's, World Changers. There's the Lightkeeper books. I could go on and on and on. There are so many great church history resource books. But man, reading church history just sets your kids up for understanding those who've come before them, really just telling the stories of the heroes of the faith. How did they live? What were their lives like? What did they have to endure? Just amazing stories. And, you can start telling these stories while they're young. Obviously, when, you don't have to tell the full story of like Perpetua and her awful death. But as your children get older, they can read these stories in greater depth. And they just hit home a little bit differently. And so you give them copies of like God's Smuggler or any sort of like Billy Graham or Bonhoeffer or Nate Saint or, any of these books that are just amazing, people who've come before us in church history. And it really just does bring alive your child's faith. It shapes their worldview. And they're entertaining. And they're, next chapter. They're not books you just like put down. They
build their faith and their worldview. Yeah. So we want to be intentional to use books to build our children's faith and their worldview. It's not just enjoyable books for entertainment and learn to read purposes. It is also books. We have been really intentional in mixing in, like, how can we include books that also help our kids become mature followers of Jesus Christ, and what is the worldview within the books? There's always great supplements for books that are not training kids to think scripturally. There's always ones that we can find that will be on a similar subject and help them think scripturally and with a biblical worldview behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. Every single book, every single one. Yep.
The last piece we will say is encourage books first and screens second. And, books are so wonderful. There's so many great things inside of books that adventures are had there. that when that becomes the norm for our kids, they can cuddle up for an hour and read a good book. We love our boys, and I love Louis L'Amour, a great country classic. We listen to those audiobooks when we drive up to Canada every year to go fishing, and we literally have a whole shelf of Louis L'Amour books. They're fantastic. That's as good as watching an adventure film, reading a Louis L'Amour book. It's even better, in fact, because you open up a book, the smell of the ink, the texture, the grain. You can't match it. And even when we go to new cities, one of the things that we often do is we look up what are the independent bookstores in this city and what are the best ones. And we'll often take our kids, if they're with us, and all right, everybody, let's go see if we can find some treasures here. Used ones are the best.
Used bookstores are the best.
Independent bookstores, the smell, and you come in, and it just, everybody walks out then with a book or a stack of books, and it encourages books over screens, and that just becomes then a pattern that we get to establish, that the books become a way to use our time in the evening and the weekend for enjoyment, not just on screens themselves.
Yeah.
All right. Jen, I think it's helpful. We've listed a few titles, and we could do a whole episode on like specific books that we recommend, which we may sometime. But here at the end, what are some of our favorite books that we have read out loud to kids? Like there's a lot we can say. So I actually have a document on my computer here. I have a 17-page document here of books that we read and recommend. We're not gonna share all of these, but I don't know if you want to mention a couple of them here.
Yeah. So here's some series we've read aloud. I think I'm just looking at these. I think every book in the series. Okay, well, we love Little House series, of course, and Narnia. The Wing Feather Saga is great. It kind of is like a slow start, but keep going, don't give up. Wing Feather Saga. The Muffets are darling. The Green Ember series is wonderful. We've done the George MacDonald Princess series. Anne of Green Gables. You can watch the movies afterwards. I have thoughts about Anne of Green Gables. People love Anne of Green Gables. I like Anne of Green Gables, the first one. There's this really funny series called The Incorrigible Children of Ashton Place.
That's a great
one is kind of like
it's laugh out loud funny.
It's laugh out loud funny. Mysterious Benedict Society, Dreamkeeper series, 100 Cupboards series. Holy guacamole. When I first read that first book out loud to the kids, I remember being like, Josh, this is the premise of 100 Cupboards. Can you believe it? Do you remember? I was so fascinated by it too as an adult. And so all of these books, and books by like Roald Dahl, and, I could go on and on and on, but really all of these book series are books that will also captivate you as an adult. Guarantee if you have not cracked the spine on some of these books, you will love them. For the younger kids, man, oh man, we obviously love the classics. So if you haven't read, the Charlotte's Web and the what is it? Trumpet of the Swan.
Trumpet of the Swan, yeah.
That's how it should sound when you read it.
Yeah.
All of those, the Vanderbeekers.
Emily just read that.
She just read the
and
first
she's
one.
like, please, can I get the second one?
I know, because I was like, oh, I would love, because I read that whole series out loud too. But I think that she was just like on the cusp of remembering. She was in the room, but she didn't remember it. But all your classic books, So there's just so many. Do you have any that really stood out to you over the years? I'm just looking at the list.
My favorite read alouds ever were the Wing Feather Saga.
Yeah, you've read that whole series twice.
I loved that one. That was fantastic. The Green Ember series, a ton of families love that
I
one.
just love it.
Yeah, it is like rabbits with swords.
I think
like
the first ones are so good. And then I stopped reading them out loud after the fourth one or something.
yeah, maybe.
I can't remember.
There's a lot of good ones out
I
there.
can think of so many books that we've read out loud, like The 100 Dresses, all the like Christmas books. The American Girl books. Those American Girl books, those are crazy. If you're going to start with American Girl, I recommend Addie is my favorite one. But the kids all laugh at me because at the end of every single one, there's like something amazing. And then they're like, uh-oh, mom's going to cry at the end of this one. They just see it. It's so good.
The Roald Dahl books are really fun. Like
They're funny.
the BFG.
The BFG.
That was a really good.
Matilda, they're like, you chose books. I chose looks. Books. The kids always make that joke.
The BFG. Human beings.
Human beings.
We have these all become like
They become the
part
language
of the language
house.
of your house.
Yes.
As you read them out loud, and y'all experience it together. And then it's just literally like we can say that what we just said, and our kids will all be like, ah!
Or even just like, it starts when they're little too. It's like the Goodnight Moon, where you read it 1,000 times, and you're like, good night, bears, and good night, cheers, and or like Pat the Bunny, and all the things. So, I would say all those. So recently, we just read out loud. This fall, I read out loud the How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
That was fun. And there's movies of this. We didn't know there was movies. And then I just chose it. And then
we watched the movie.
And then we watched the movie. That
Book
was
first, movie second.
There's 2 movies. We need to watch the second movie.
Yeah, and I'll say we'll add with this. It's good for dads to be involved in the read alouds as well.
Yeah.
And for dads to be doing the read alouds in the evenings as are able. There will often be times, during my busy seasons where I'll be out during evenings or traveling. And so we'll have a book and then it will be like a couple days in between when we can do one reading and the next. And that's often what we will do sometimes, especially in the winter months after dinner when it's cold and dark and snowy. And let's read a couple chapters.
Fire in the fireplace.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's great. Everybody cuddles up.
Yep.
Then dad gets to be part of the process, and mom can still do reading at times during the day when dad's gone, and there are other books, but we've saved the best ones
when dad's
for
there,
the whole family.
Dad should be a part of the
Dad
best
should
ones.
be part of it
He
too.
deserves to be a part of the best ones.
Yep. And it's kind of a treat then. Even it's like, all right, everybody gather around. We're going to read.
We're ready. Dad's here.
ready.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. So maybe if you're listening to this, you've got some good recommendation for read aloud books. Pop them in the comments
We would love to
section
hear your
and
recommendations.
Let us know. Let everybody else know what are some great read aloud books that
because
people could.
we're still reading to our kids. We can always
And
add.
ourselves. That's one of the great things of reading aloud. A lot of us, like me, as grown up, I didn't read anything hardly, and none of the classics. So sometimes my first exposure to a lot of books was when we were reading them to the kids. And I'm like, wow, this is great. How come I never read this? Yeah, so it's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's good.
It's good. Good.
All right.
Well, that's our encouragement to you. Help your kids become lovers of good books. It'll change their lives.
I will. All right, that does it for today. Thanks for tuning in.
See you next
We'll
time.
See you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Gospel Shaped Family Podcast. Please share this episode and give us a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcasts.